Being feminine is not always about being calm. Welcome to Feminine Flow Fridays. My name is Banke Shotomi. I am a feminine embodiment coach and an executive leadership coach. And Feminine Fridays is the opportunity where I get to come and share with you certain principles around the world of femininity, feminine energy, feminine embodiment. One, to help us dispel some of the myths that we have around femininity, but most importantly, to share with us practical things and practical ways we can live our lives as embodied women with ease and grace. So welcome to the second episode. If you are tuning in for the very first time, I want you to, after this session, go back to our first week where I talked about the way in which we start the new year. So the way in which we start the new year, I've said in my previous episode, is always sometimes kind of frantic. We start the new year, overwhelmed. We start the new year with so much going on. And actually, the feminine way to start the new year is from a place of calibration, from a place of stability, from a place of calm. And this leads me into the topic that I want to talk about today, which is the notion that feminine energy is always about being calm, always about being put together. And I want to debunk that, because in order for you as a woman to live from a place of ease and grace, to live from a place of being embodied in your feminine journey, you have to have a relationship with both chaos and calm. And this is where we're going with today's conversation. So what do I mean? Have a relationship with chaos and calm? Banke, what are you talking about? Let me start first and foremost with the understanding of feminine energy. And I've done a whole podcast on this, by the way. So if you're interested in really diving deep into what is feminine energy about, definitely go and check out the Ease and Grace podcast show, which you will also find in the bio on the link there as well. But what I mean about chaos and calm coexisting on our journey to femininity is that when you look at Mother Nature is the perfect example of calm and chaos. Mother Nature can be a very gentle breeze, can be a very soft flowing stream of water. Mother Nature can be a very soft, warm glow. At the same time, Mother Nature has the capacity to become a storm that rips into entire cities and nations. It can be a flood that literally turns into a tsunami and washes away society. It can also be like a volcano that erupts and burns everything down to ashes. So when I say that femininity isn't always about being calm, what I'm saying is that femininity is actually about having an understanding that there will be times of chaos and there will be times of calmness. And in order to be a woman who is embodied in her femininity, embodied in her journey of living a life from ease and grace, you have to be able to understand both worlds, relate to both worlds, and most importantly, find alignment in both of those worlds. And this leads me to talking about how that shows up in our body. So the body as well, for us as women, very, very, very likened to Mother Nature. As women, we're cyclical beings. We have monthly cycles. We have different hormones at different points of our monthly cycle. And so there's never really one standard set experience that we have as women. This is why, people will often reference women as being emotional, being volatile, being unpredictable, because it's true. There is an unpredictability in the way that our biology is wired, but also in the way that we are to understand that. So what I want to share with us today is about how do we cultivate that relationship within us? How do we know how to handle the moments of chaos that happen in our lives? And how do we also know how to ride with the seasons of calmness that happens in our lives? And this all boils down to the relationship we have with our nervous system. I talked about this in the last episode. So again, go back to the last episode to get some more context. But essentially, we are all wired with a nervous system that gives us the capacity to deal with external stimulus, external situations, external threats, if you like, where we are either running away from the threat, fighting the threat, pretending that the threat doesn't exist and just kind of freezing, or trying to appease the threat, all in the aid of wanting to survive. It's a very evolutionary element of our being. It is how we are wired as human beings. When we go on the journey of women who want to harness their feminine energy, women who want to be more embodied in their femininity, women who want to know how to handle all the variations of life, this is an important component to understand. Because in order for you to live effectively from your space of femininity, you have to be willing to engage with the various elements of your life. You have to be willing to engage with how you deal with storms, how you deal with circumstances, how you deal with situations that won't always be pretty. So this is the thing I want to mention. Femininity is actually not pretty. Yes, that is disruptive. How can you say that, Banker? So all the nails that I've been doing, all the lashes I've been doing, all the hair that I've been doing, you mean it doesn't mean I'm feminine? I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is that we do femininity a serious injustice to only focus on femininity being about beauty. Femininity also has a wild side to it. Femininity also has an unbridled side to it. And oftentimes in that wildness, in that unbridledness, sometimes life can get ugly. Sometimes being feminine can mean being so, digging your paws in the ground, having mud underneath your nails, screaming and shouting, wailing and crying. And the reason why this is important for us to understand is so that we don't get trapped into that belief that in order for us to be feminine, we can only show up as the best version of ourselves. Femininity is about being all of the expressions of yourself and being able to contain what all that expression looks like. So that means in the chaos, when life is going haywire, when things aren't working out, as women who are embodied in our femininity, we don't run away from the chaos. We lean into the chaos. We take time to regulate during the chaos so that we can emerge on the other side of that chaos. How do we do that, Banker? How do we navigate challenges of life? How do we deal with the chaos of life? How do we deal with the not so pretty elements of life and still maintain our femininity? The way you do that is first of all by grounding into your body, by finding the sense of safety in your body. And what do I mean? I mean that when you are in a difficult situation, you are going to naturally, because that's what your body is wired to do, go into a survival mechanism. You are going to panic. You are going to have anxiety. You are going to have emotional outbursts. You are going to feel overwhelmed. You're going to feel worried. You're going to have all manners of emotions coming up in you and through you, because that is what the chaos is designed to do. The chaos is designed to test that your nervous system is working as it should. The chaos is designed to help you to know when there is a threat and how you are to move through that threat. The challenge that we often have as modern day women is we don't know how to relate to our nervous system. We don't know how to discern the lessons in the chaos. And so we become trapped in a perpetual loop of trying to survive the chaos. So we're either perpetually running away, avoiding situations, being avoidant, being non-present, procrastinating, putting our head in the sand, doing everything to avoid the situation. Or we are constantly in a battle. We're always arguing. There's always friction. There's always tension. There's always harshness coming out. We're always in a ready stance to fight. Or we are literally so overwhelmed with the pressures and the challenges of life, we freeze. We don't know what to do. And so we stay stuck in those cycles. We stay stuck in those relationships. We stay stuck in those situations because our body is in a freeze mode. When we don't know how to regulate and have a relationship with our nervous system, if we're not fighting, if we're not avoiding, if we're not freezing, there is another element of trying to survive the challenge that we may find ourselves in, which is the fawning. So fawning as in FAWN. And this is where the people pleasing comes in. This is where the self-sacrificing comes in. This is where the appeasing comes in. The silencing ourselves comes in. The playing small comes in. The shutting ourselves down comes in. In other words, doing everything to just try to maintain peace in the chaos, even if that peace is to our detriment. And so what I'm teaching us today is, one, having this understanding that to be a woman who is feminine does not always mean your life will be a steady, calm stream. To be a woman who is feminine means also being willing to invite and accept that there will be chaos in life. To be a feminine woman, or a woman on her journey to becoming more feminine embodied, also means that to navigate life with ease and grace, you must have a relationship with how chaos and calm can coexist. So let's get down to some practicalities on what this really means. To have a relationship with your nervous system is to actually have moments in your day where you pause and you reflect inwardly. So when you are anxious, when you are angry, when you are overwhelmed, when you are confused, when you are sad, when you are frightened, when you are distressed, when you are burdened, when you are fatigued, it is all a message that is being conveyed through your body. And your job as a woman who is moving in the realms of her femininity is to pay attention to those messages. Most of the time, modern women do not pay attention to their nervous system, which is why they will continue to move, go, which is the flight mode, the one that you're running. When you're constantly on the go, when you're always busy, when you're constantly overthinking, when you're multitasking, when you're doing so many things, you are activating your flight mode survival mechanism. You are running on an adrenaline that your nervous system eventually will catch up with you on. And how will your nervous system catch up with you if that's one of the things that you're doing? Your nervous system will shut down. Your nervous system will make you experience burnout. Your nervous system will make you experience fatigue. Your nervous system will make you feel overwhelmed. Your nervous system will literally scream at you until you have no choice but to stop running. It will continue until it can disrupt that constant flight pattern. Same thing if you're in fight mode. If you're in fight mode, some of the signs that you know that you're in fight mode is you're always snapping. You're always having an attitude. You're always defensive. You're ready to go into an argument. You find that you're always arguing with people. You attract people who are contentious. You have a contentious team member. You're always arguing with your partner. Your children are always getting on your nerves. You're always shouting. There's an aggression that comes out. And your nervous system, if you're not paying attention to all of these cues, your nervous system will begin to give you those messages to stop. It will begin to show up in maybe high blood pressure, hypertension, exhaustion, tiredness, overwhelm. Or it will begin to show up in such a way that you're just in that loop of constantly finding yourself in contentious, cantankerous situation. And so it is important for us on our journey as mega women, and welcome to the Mega Woman community. For those of you who are joining for the very first time, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to plug into the community. You can follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, follow us on YouTube. Also click the link in our bio where there are so many other resources that you can tap into for free to learn more about the feminine journey. But essentially, today's Feminine Flow Friday, it's about us learning that relationship with the body, learning that relationship with our nervous system, learning the patterns of what it looks like to be in survival mode, learning the patterns of what chaos causes us to do and how we behave in moments of chaos, so that we can learn from that, have a relationship with that, and use that to get us to the other side where calmness exists. So what are some of the practical ways as a woman you can begin to develop a relationship with your nervous system, begin to develop a relationship with your body, so that you know how to handle the different times and seasons in your life? Number one, your breath. Using your breath is a wonderful way of always bringing you back to a state of regulation. Oftentimes when we are in a heightened state of mind, or we are in a heightened state of energy, our adrenaline, our cortisol, our the biological chemicals that cause us to be in overdrive kicks in. And how we drop that sort of adrenaline rush, cortisol rush, how we drop that so we get into a state of calmness is through the breath. There are many, many ways in which you can use your breath as a way to regulate your body, as a way to regulate your nervous system. Closing your eyes, taking a deep breath in through your nose is my favorite tool, my breath work tool. I take a deep breath in through my nose, and then I open my mouth and I release and exhale. So I'll do that again. Deep breath in through your nose and exhale. The reason why the breath is such a powerful regulator of our emotions, of our nervous system, is because the slowness of the breath sends signals to your brain. It sends a signal to your brain that you are no longer in danger. And so when you are subconsciously in your survival mode, so remember, of course, there isn't a lion chasing you for you to feel like you need to run, which is actually why the fight, flight, freeze mode was designed evolutionary within the body. It's a biological process because way back in the days of our ancestors, there were primates around, there were predators around, there were wild animals around, and so the body needed a way to protect itself when these situations happened. Of course, in our modern day world, we don't have roaming lions, we don't have crocodiles, we don't have wild animals attacking us. But what we do have is the equivalent energetically of wildlife animals attacking us. That shows up as anxiety, that shows up as stress, that shows up as relationship issues, it shows up as all of the things that I've mentioned before. And so when you take your breath in the way that I have regulated, in the way I've demonstrated, you are signaling to your body on a subconscious level that it is safe to calm down. It is safe to drop the cortisol. It is safe to drop the adrenaline. It is safe to drop the high alert mode that you're in. Why? Because the body registers a slower pattern of breathing as, oh, we're now going into a rest and chill space. When you're in a heightened, threatened space, naturally your body will go faster, right? And so when you're doing the opposite with your breath, you're signaling to the breath, to your body, you're safe, you're okay. This is why when you go into high tension situations, when you're nervous, when you're overwhelmed, when you're anxious, when you're tearful, the breath will naturally calm you back down. So that's the first thing that you do on a very sort of physical level when you want to be a woman who is able to navigate challenges, able to find calmness, even when you're going through chaos. The second thing that I will talk about, and then we'll round up for today's session, is you being able to listen to the messages that your body is speaking. To become a woman who is embodied in her feminine, you have to be a woman who's perceptive, discerning, and a woman who has capacity to use her intuition. When your body is out of sync, it is your responsibility as a woman who is on her journey of her femininity to pay attention to that. And you might be wondering, and thank you, Yewande, for saying that you came at the right time. I'm so glad that you are here. Thank you for joining, and I hope that what I'm sharing is landing. But in order for you to really pay attention to the things that your body is speaking to you about, you have to be a woman of discernment. You have to be a woman who pays attention to her environment externally and internally. You need to be able to know when your energy is off. There are times where I'm at home, I am in a bad mood. I know I'm in a bad mood. My children haven't necessarily done anything wrong. You know, they're just doing what they do as children. And because I have already sensed inside of me that I'm not in a good mood, I know that it is my responsibility to manage that so that I don't end up snapping at my children, being harsh with them, doing things, and they'll be like, Mom, what's your problem? Why are you like this? So in order for you to be a woman who has a relationship with her nervous system, who is able to stay feminine even in the time of chaos, you have to be willing to pay attention to what your body is saying. You have to be willing to be honest with what your body is saying. And when your body is speaking to you, you have to pay attention to it. Don't let your body drive you to the point of breakdown, which is what a lot of women do, before you start paying attention. Don't let your body have to manifest into a disease, an illness, a physical breakdown before you start to engage your body. If you have a headache, there is something about that headache that your body is trying to communicate. If you have a backache, there's something that your body is trying to communicate. Last year, for about 18 months, I had a frozen shoulder on my right shoulder. I couldn't lift it past a certain, level. It was just stuck. And it would often cause me a lot of pain. And for a long time, I didn't know what the pain was. I didn't know why the pain was there. I would struggle trying going to the gym, using weights. And it took me going to a feminine embodiment retreat to understand what the message that my right frozen shoulder was saying to me. And at the time, I was carrying a lot of responsibility at home. I was carrying a lot of the responsibility that in the absence of a male figure being in my home, I had extra burden to carry. In other words, I was carrying the weight of the world on my shoulders. And it took me understanding that my shoulder was freezing because my body was literally saying to me, Banke, you have to let some of these weights go. You have to carry some of these burdens and put them down. And I began to, relate to that part of my body. And as I started asking more questions, as I started leaning into the wisdom that part of my body was sharing, the reality became apparent that I was trying to save everybody around me, and I had limited capacity to do so. And so I had to make a decision about relationships that I needed to cut off, about the boundaries I needed to set within certain relationships, about how I will say no in certain relationships, about how I would allow people to just go on their own journey without me rescuing them, in order for me to really begin the healing journey of my body. And so I share that story with you, ladies, so that you understand that your body is a wisdom keeper. And the journey of being a woman who is embodied in her femininity is the journey of her recognizing the sacredness of her body, where she honors her body, not just physically how she looks in the terms of beauty, but how she responds to the wisdom and the intelligence that her body is communicating to her. Modern women have lost touch with their bodies. Modern women don't take time to pour into their bodies. And there's a misconception, again, in femininity around taking care of your body just means go to the spa, go and get a massage, go and do your beauty facials, do your nails, do your lashes and all that. It's very superficial. But actually, honoring your body is self-love from the perspective of you having a relationship with the wisdom in your body. And so my invitation for you, ladies, as you listen to this session, is to think about, where has your body communicated to you and you have ignored that communication? I want you to go back to that part of your body. I want you to go back to that communication, and I want you to begin to have a relationship with that. So if you've had a headache for a long time, if you've had migraines for a long time, if you've had a chest pain for a long time, if you've had reoccurring infections for a long time, if you've had a cold for a long time, if something is just constantly happening to you in your body, my invitation for you is to go back and have a conversation with your body. And a wonderful prompt for you to do from a journaling perspective is literally to just have a conversation. Their shoulder, their back, their breast, their nose, their head, whatever the part of your body is. How are you feeling today? What is the message that you are trying to convey to me today? What do I need to lean into concerning this discomfort that I feel, concerning this pain that I feel? And what you will find is, as you are journaling, a stream of consciousness will begin to flow inside of you. And you may not necessarily be able to make sense of it in that moment, but once you are done with this journaling exercise and you go back and you read that which you have written, there will be an unlocking of a deeper level of wisdom that will begin your progressive journey of navigating your chaos, of navigating your challenges to get you to the side of calmness. So, ladies, I will leave us with this reminder again, that the journey of femininity is not a superficial journey. It is a deep journey. And the deeper the journey is, the deeper we are required to go within ourselves, our physical selves, our emotional selves, our spiritual selves, and to dialogue within ourselves, have conversations within ourselves. Many of us outsource the wisdom that we need. Many of us go to external people for advice, for external people to help us. We never remember that there is an intelligence inside of us. There is a divinity inside of us, that if we would learn to have communion with that essence within us, we would get so much deeper revelations of who we are, how we are to show up, and where our healing lies. I want us to move into an age as women where we are no longer outsourcing our wisdom, when we are no longer looking externally from ourselves, we're no longer looking outside of ourselves for wisdom that is already in us, waiting to be unlocked. So ladies, I hope that you enjoyed today's session. I'm here every Friday at 8 p.m. GMT time on the Feminine Flow Fridays, the sessions where I have conversations with you around what it means to be a woman living a journey in her feminine energy, what it means to lead, to live, and to love in our lives from a place of embodied ease and grace. And I am here. My mission is to debunk some of the myths around femininity and help us to go deep into the beautiful, mystical, magical world of what it means to be a woman who is in her feminine power. So if you enjoyed this session today, come back next week where I will be sharing much more deeper wisdom for us to navigate our lives. And of course, the other thing I want to invite you to do is to join us in the Mega Woman community. You can click the link in the bio. You will have access to the WhatsApp group. Some of the ladies are in the WhatsApp group. Stargirl, I see you. Thank you for joining. So Stargirl is one of the members of the WhatsApp group where we have conversations. I share so much more. I share a lot as well about my personal journey in the WhatsApp group because I'm a very open book. I believe that my journey in and of itself is the message to the world that I'm here to bring. I'm also hosting a retreat in November to South Africa, and there's also information of that, how to join, how to be part of that retreat in South Africa. I have themed it Wild Feminine, which again really embodies a lot of what I've been sharing on our platform and on what I've been sharing in today's session as well. So that's all I have to say. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you've enjoyed the session. Please like it, share it with your friends, repost it. I need you to help me gather more people here. And so please do share this content, share this page with all your sister friends as well. And I will see you next week, same time, 8 p.m. on another episode of Feminine Flow Fridays. Take care, everyone. Bye.